Hey folks, welcome. We are at Gatwick Airport in jolly old England. We're in London, a place I've never been to before. Sure love to go. Never been to London, never been to or England at all. Never been to Germany, but they're on my bucket list. Anyway, today we are flying from Gatwick, one of the country's largest airports, to an airport out on the western coast called Liverpool Airport. I think the Beatles were from Liverpool, weren't they? Anyway, what I've done is I've gone from my SimBrief, my flight plan, and I've entered in the starting location. I don't know if you can really see that. I know it's really small. Echo Golf Kilo Kilo, which is Gatwick. Our first navigation reference is a VOR Lima Alpha Mike, and then we are on an airway, the November 57 airway. Then we go to a waypoint, Whelan, W-E-L-I-N, then to another airway, the T420, then to another VOR, the Tango November Tango, and then finally to our destination of Liverpool, Echo Golf Golf Papa. Now, that is what I need to import and to send to the air traffic control program. There is a couple of things that it's missing. It's missing the star and the SID, the standard arrival route and the standard instrument departure. So to get those, I'm going to go to my SimBrief. Here's the full routing. The SID is the LAM 6M, and the star is the TIPO 2G. Boy, I love SIDs and stars in the United States better. They tend to be not quite as tongue twisty. So let's enter the departure. And here are all the available SIDs, and you can see that London is a complex system, but we have a takeoff runway of runway 28 left. So the standard departure that we've been assigned is LAM 6M. Let's just find that right here. And here you can see the whole LAM 6M. Are we going to use all of it? We're going to go to N57. I don't know where N57 is, but oh, I'm sorry. We're going to LAM, the VOR LAM. So you can see Lima Alpha Mike, the VOR LAM, is at the end of the LAM 6M procedure. So 28 left, right turn, left turn, get us heading in the general direction, and the VOR LAM is the ending of the procedure and the start of the airway. So that's what we want. We'll load that in. Can't see if it took it or not. There it goes. It took it. And now we're going to our star arrival route. And what we're looking for is the TIPO 2G. Now Liverpool isn't nearly as complex. We're on runway 9 coming into Liverpool, and we can select the TIPO 2G arrival, and that one starts at the VOR Tango November Tango TNT. So that's our last waypoint in our routing, so that is what we want. We'll load that in. Okay, air traffic control now has a really good idea of what we're doing. So I'm going to push that off to the side. And let's get into our flight sim environment. Whoa, that is spectacular. I'm loving these views. This is a freeware airport, Gatwick, London. And we're at gate 113. I am blown away. I am impressed with the quality of this airport. Let's get the jet bridge attached. Oh, to do that, need to add a couple of my friends. You folks who've flown with me before, you know that I like to fly with a full cabin crew and flight crew using using a program by a company called FS2Crew. The program is called, in this case, it's fly-by-wire A32NX. It's the newest of their software programs, only been out for a week and a half or so. And then Pushback Express gives me a realistic ground crew and helps me with the ground operations. And using Pushback Express, I'm going to get that jet bridge attached. As soon as I remember how. There we go. Hopefully the cabin door will open. There it goes. I know there are a good number of people who publish videos on their flights. One thing I want you to take away from mine is, and I'm going to try to do more of this, is I like to incorporate the whole flight picture. I like to incorporate the ground handling, the cabin crew, the flight crew, the air traffic control. As much as is possible, I'm going to try to be as inclusive to the whole experience of your airline flight. If I could somehow simulate the crew Uber ride to the airport or getting through TSA, I would do it all. Now I'm going to try to be as immersive as I can. Let's get the baggage folks busy. So to that end, I don't want to skimp out on the little details, especially considering that some of these developers have gone through a lot of effort to create these animations and to create this artistry. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. We're here in Gatwick. Next to us is an Air Canada aircraft. In a bit of laziness, all my liveries are thrown in together, so don't be too surprised if you see some Australian or New Zealand or South African or American or Canadian liveries here at Gatwick. A bad livery, in my opinion, is better than no livery. Look at the water on the concrete. Wow, what a good job. What a good job. Mags are starting to load. Let's hop aboard. It is cold and dark. Our cabin crew just entered in the back, and I'd like you to meet our first officer. Here she is. Her name is Christy, and she is very intense, but she's very good at her job. So, what do you have to say, Christy?
Let's start setting up.
Okay.
She's going to go out and do her walk around. Meanwhile, here it's cold, dark, and wet. We have ground power available, so we'll use it. Battery 1 on. Battery 2 on. External power. Get this rheostat turned up to give us a little interior lighting. Meanwhile, the air conditioning fans have kicked in. Emergency exit light armed. That way, if the cabin crew needs to find their way out of the aircraft quickly, they can see those exit lights, although they've had enough training, they can do that in the dark. No smoking sign on. Seatbelt sign on. Nav 1 or Nav 2, it doesn't matter which you choose, they're both redundant of each other. Wing lights on, hold off on the beacon, hold off on the strobes, don't need the landing lights or the runway turn-off lights yet. We can check the wipers. I don't have much of a need for them right now, but we check them. Let's turn the wipers on. Well, good thing we don't really depend on wipers very much. I turned the wipers off. Test the call button. Oxygen. Crew supply can remain off for right now. The voice recorder, we'll put in the auto mode. We'll do a cockpit voice recorder test. Now this is kind of hard to hear, so you really got to listen for it. That test is good. Turn that off. Ground proximity warning system. All the modes are in the on position. Emergency electrical power is available. The evacuation system is as it should be. Flight control system is as it should be. The IRS inertia reference system needs to be fired up. This is the ADIR system. System number 1 we'll put to nav. Number 2 to nav. And number 3 to nav. Cockpit door video and public address system are armed. Lighting is okay for now. We don't need any anti-ice. Cabin pressure can be left alone for now. We don't have any bleed pressure because we don't have an APU yet. We are on 28 volts DC on the batteries, and we're running on external power. Fuel pumps can be left off for right now. We'll do a test of the fire system on the APU. That test is good. We'll hold off on the engine tests until a little later on. We tested the wiper, engine manual start N1 mode. Those can be left alone. Ventilations can be left alone. We'll do a test on the smoke detection system in the cargo bay. That test is fine, and the flight control system can be left alone. Circuit breakers. Oops. Got to find that. There's a panel. Circuit breakers are all pushed in. Kick up the reading light a little bit. Kick up the reading light on this side a little bit. And hydraulics. All emergency locator transmitter is on, and everything up here looks fine. Let's go to our flight management computer. Actually, I'm going to try better and better to do this. It is a command display unit, or computer display unit, which gives us access to the flight management system. One component of that is the flight management computer. I keep using the term FMC for everything, and that is incorrect. I'm trying to do a better job. So here we are. Let's go to the ATSU menu, then to the company menu. Then we'll get an initialization from our data link. And just in case you're curious about that data link, let's go to the data link status. You can see that on board we do not have a SATCOM satellite communication on board. It's not installed. We also don't have...
I'm back. No issues on the walk around.
Okay.
Oh, great. She's back. She did that quick. You know, it's raining out there, and I don't blame her for doing that rather quickly. There's a rule generally that the flight crew exchanges the dirty duty of going out and doing the walk around. On one segment, the captain will do it, and on the other segment, the first officer will do it, unless there's inclement weather. In inclement weather, the first officer always does the walk around. Rank hath its privileges. So she did that. We don't have a high frequency. We do have VHF radio available. That's FM radio, just like an FM radio station you might listen to, and it's a data link with the dispatch office. So that is available, and that's what we're using for our data link. Company menu, initialization, and we will get that by data link from our flight plan that we've previously we haven't filed it yet, but we previously calculated it. We are British Airways flight number 43. We're departing from Gatwick on our way to Liverpool. Fuel on board is 9.5. That's well more than we need. 46 minutes en route. You folks who flew with me from Spokane to Seattle the other day, you know we were in the air for 44 minutes. So this flight is 2 minutes longer than that one. When I first looked at it, there was a lot of waypoints, and I thought it was a lot longer. But I had to remember that England is not a very large country to begin with. I'm going to go to our fuel page here on the EFIS screen. And in the lower left corner of the EFIS screen, you can see our fuel on board is 9520 kilograms, well more than we need. So that's what we'll use as the fuel that's on board. Let's go back to our company menu. We'll do a weather request. METAR's current conditions at Echo Golf Kilo Kilo. Whenever I'm in England, I try to remember the ICAO code begins with EG, and that reminds me that we're in England, just as K would be the continental United States, or PA would be Alaska or Hawaii. Okay, there's Gatwick, and our destination is, oops, not K, Echo Golf Papa, which is Liverpool, and that's good enough. We'll send that request. We'll also get a TAF, Terminal Aerodrome Forecast, for the same airports. We'll send that back to the company menu. I'm going to skip the ATIS, Automated Terminal Information System. We'll get that over FM radio when we're in range of our landing airport. And we'll do a weight and balance, also from our request. Block fuel, 6272. We have a lot more. We have 9520 on board, so we don't need to worry about that. Enough for taxi, enough for trip. Let's go to this 1 of 2. We'll go to 2 of 2. Zero fuel weight is 57.4 and 30 on the center of gravity. These numbers are independent of the fuel load. They don't change. Passenger load is a little lighter than the one we had going from Spokane to Seattle. Breakdown of our payload and our baggage, and we'll load that into the aircraft. Back to the company menu. We have some received messages. We have our TAF, Terminal Aerodrome Forecast. There's a date stamp. There's some time stamps. Wind 260 at 8. Then another time stamp. Showers and rain. Now this is all for Gatwick. So fairly light winds, variable, scattered at 2,500, broken at 1,200, showers and rain. Okay. Not as important at Gatwick as it is where we're going, Liverpool. Here we go, date stamp, time stamp, variable at 4 knots. Now this is often true. Variable, when you get showers and rain, heavy, plus means heavy showers and rain. When you get stratus clouds, which form rain but not in a thunderstorm, not cumulonimbus clouds, you're likely to get very little wind. So very little wind.
Hi, the security and safety check are all done. Are we good to start boarding?
Yes, you can start boarding.
Thanks.
Bring grandma aboard. Get those fine English people aboard. So stratus clouds, variable wind, but heavy rain. And we can deal with that. That is forecasted weather. Let's print that. We also have current weather. It's our METAR. And let's go down to, this is about the lightest METAR I remember seeing in a good long time. Timestamp 150 at 6. So that wind is from the southeast. We're going to be landing on runway 9, which is due east. So we're going to have a quartering headwind from the right on landing at 6 knots. Few clouds at 1,300, broken clouds at 2,400. so cloud cover won't be a problem. Temperature 17, dew point 15. Those numbers are only 2 degrees apart from each other, which could be indicative of ground fog or ground haze. And QNH is 1012. That's just a little bit on the low side. A low pressure is indicative of worse, poor weather, and if that goes lower, it can be indicative of worsening weather. Okay, we'll print that. We have our load sheet. We'll lock the door. No more entrance into the cabin. I'm going to arm the speed brake, make sure the progressive wind shear system is off, make sure our engine control switches are normal, flaps are up, transponder to the TA mode and the automatic mode. I'm going to kick up a couple more of these rheostats to get the lights kicked up a bit. Oh, again, I'm frustrated with that mouse sometimes. Go to the McDo menu, flight management system. We are in an Airbus A320-200 model with LEAP 1A engines. They are rated at 26,000 pounds of thrust. Our air-act cycle is slightly out of date. Data, aircraft status, that's the same information. Initialization, again over the data link. Gatwick to Liverpool, there's our alternate. I'm not familiar enough with England to know what that is, but I'll worry about it when we get there. British Airways, flight number 43, cost index of 40, flight level 240 on our altitude. We're not really getting very high, negative 32. Now that's centigrade. That's negative 32 centigrade. That is monstrously cold, even for a fairly low flight level. So something to take note of. Tropopause is fairly high, so we don't need to calculate how accurate that is. Let's go to our flypad, fire it up, and while it's powering up, I'll get myself a cup of coffee, a sip of coffee here. I love my Joe. Get my coffee, we'll load this from the briefing. Gatwick to Liverpool, there's some current weather. Oh, you can see 1014 millibars at or I don't know what this is called. It's hectopascals. 1014 hectopascals in Gatwick and 1012 hectopascals in Liverpool. So the weather's getting slightly worse from one to the other. Temperature the same. Dew point spread is wider than the temperature dew point spread in Liverpool. So the weather in Liverpool won't be as nice as it is in Gatwick, but not by much. A very light 7 knots wind here, 6 knots wind there, although a total reverse in directions. This wind is coming from 240, that's coming from the southwest. 140, this wind is coming from the southeast. Let's go to our operational flight plan, and down here we can see our routing. Gatwick, we're on the LAM 6 Mike departure, LAM VOR to the airway, November 57 airway to Whelan Waypoint, Tango 420 airway, TNT VOR, the TIP 02G arrival into Liverpool, flight level 240, top of climb winds, 240 at 48, and the ISA deviation is a positive 7 degrees. So 240 at 48 for flight level 240. Let's go back to our wind page. 240 at 48 at flight level 240. And that's all the wind we need. Flight plan page. Leaving Gatwick. Our departure is on runway 26 left. And we are taking off by using the LAM 6M departure. and we want to, we don't need we do want to transition. Let's see here. Oh. Lam 6M. And we're not given a, well, we're going to fly the Lam 6M to its terminus at Lam, Lima Alpha Mike. I'm not given a choice of a transition, so I'm going to insert that, assuming it will be the whole procedure. So here we go. Gatwick, 26 left. This is all part of the departure, and hopefully Lam will be in there. There's Lam. Okay, so it takes us all the way to Lam, and then it puts us on the airway at Whelan, the N57 airway, and then we're on the T420 airway. Whelan is the transition point between those two airways. And then TNT is the VOR, and we want our arrival procedure to start at TNT. So if we get the whole arrival procedure, then TNT will be in that arrival. And the arrival procedure we're looking for is the TIPO 2G. The TIPO 2G. Oh, we got to tell it a runway first, don't we? Landing on runway 9. ILS to 9. I always, if I have the availability of an ILS, I'll always take the ILS. It is the TIPO 2G. You have technology, you might as well use it. And the VIA, okay, no VIA, and the transition will be none as long as we're using TNT, which is the whole procedure. And there's TNT, and then we're on the procedure. So that's good. That should look good. Let's take a look at the broad picture by going to the plan mode, and we'll zoom this out just a little bit. Here's the arrival, so let's page through this a bit. I want to get to the start of the, here we go. Gatwick, let's okay, departing on 26 left to the west, then right turn east. Oh. And then northwest. Then west, circling around and landing to the east. So that procedure looks fine. Now, at this pinch point, it's likely that the air traffic controllers will take us off of our procedure.
Hi guys, here's the load sheet for you.
Thanks.
No problem. Have a safe flight.
And they will give us vectors onto the ILS, and that's what I'm hoping will happen. It will cut out this segment. Of course, we'll fly the procedure if we're not given those vectors, but most likely will be vectored, and that'll be what it is. So all that is good. Let's go to our performance. Now that we know our runway, we can give a flap setting of 1. We have really long runways here at Gatwick. Our stabilator trim is going to be down 0.0, which is basically no stabilator trim at all. We have a flex temp calculated at 56 degrees. Our transition altitude, believe it or not, I couldn't believe this when I saw this, 3,000 feet. In England, That's 3,000. In North America, it would be 18,000 feet. And general aviation pilot flying a Cessna could only get to about 12 to 14,000 feet. He would never, in his whole career, he would never get to transition altitude. Well, in England, 3,000 feet, that's, everybody can get to 3,000 feet. So that's, you know, in my American mind, that's a little strange. Anyway, that's what it is, though. V2 is calculated at 138. VR, rotate speed, is calculated at 134. And V1 is at 133. I believe we are... Oh, need to enter our zero fuel weight and zero fuel center of gravity from our data link. And don't need to do any fuel planning because we know what our fuel is. It is 9.5. This will populate trip fuel, reserve fuel, alternate fuel, minimum destination fuel on board, 5.7. So a lot of extra fuel on board. Trip wind, I guess I could put that in at 240. Yeah, don't know if that changes it to 6.1. What's that old saying? Garbage in, garbage out. That is all set up. Let's file our flight plan and get a clearance. Let's tune in the ATIS first.
Gatwick information: Sierra 1320 Zulu, winds are 240 at 7 knots. Visibility 6 miles. 2,400 broken. Temperature 19, dew point 13. Current QNH is 1014. Arriving and departing runway 26 right, 26 left. Gatwick information: Sierra 1320 Zulu, winds are 240 at 7.
Gatwick clearance delivery. Speedbird 4-tree, ready to copy. Gatwick clearance delivery. Speedbird 4-tree, ready to copy.
Speedbird 4-3 is cleared to Echo Golf Golf Papa, climb via the LAM 6M departure, with the LAM transition, then is filed. Expect departure runway 26 left. Climb to flight level 130 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 8 minutes after departure. Squawk 6543.
My first officer really should be responding to that. Wonder why she's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board today. As you locate your assigned seats, please place your smaller items under the seat in front of you to provide more room for larger items in our overhead compartments. If you need assistance, contact a flight attendant. If you are unable
Speedbird
to accommodate
4-3
any
is
item
cleared
in
to
the cabin,
Echo
please
Golf
bring it to
Golf
the boarding
Papa,
door.
climb
We will
via the
check
LAM
it for you.
6M departure with the LAM
Also,
transition,
review
then
the
as
safety
filed,
instruction
climb
card
to
in your
flight
seat
level
pocket.
130
If you are
via the
seated in
departure.
an exit
Expect
seat,
higher
also review
clearances
the
8 minutes
exit
after
seating
departure.
criteria.
Squawk 6543.
Speedbird 4-3 read back correct. QNH is 1014, contact ground on 121.8 when ready for pushback. Have a good afternoon.
QNH is 1014 ground on 121.8 Speedbird 43.
Well, we have our clearance. How about running a checklist? Oh, let me say hi to the folks before we do that.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck. This is the captain speaking. On behalf of the entire flight crew and myself, I'd like to welcome you aboard today's flight. Our flight attendants are there for your comfort, but more importantly for your safety, so please give them a few minutes of your undivided attention while they go over the safety features of this aircraft. Once the boarding process is complete, we'll get the cabin door closed and push off the gate for an on-time departure. In the meantime, please sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Welcome aboard.
Now, checklist.
Before start checklist.
Cockpit prep.
Completed.
Completed. Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Signs.
On and auto.
Are you sure about that? Adheres.
Nav.
Fuel quantity.
9520 kilograms. Set.
Takeoff data.
Set.
Barrel ref.
1014. Set.
1014. Set. Down to the line.
Time to fire up the APU. Turn the beacon on. Let folks outside know that we're going to have activity going on this fine Boeing aircraft or Airbus aircraft. Get down to my EFIS screen and put it in the APU page. Let's just do a check of all the pages right now. Engines are off. Bleed air. There is no bleed air. Pressure, inlet, outlet, safety valves are closed. We are at no PSI. We're in no vertical motion. Cabin altitude is 183 feet. Our electrical system,
Hey guys, are we cleared to close?
Yes.
Thanks. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay, let's close those doors. Generators are off. We're getting power from external power on the what's called shore power. Batteries are at full voltage, so that's okay. Hydraulics are unpressurized. Fuel levels are where they should be, but fuel pumps are all off. APU is off. Air conditioning, 2424. That's a little on the warm side. And once we get the APU started, we'll have to see if that adjusts any. The only door open is the cabin door. Our air brake temperatures are fine. Flight controls have not been checked. Okay, APU. Let's go upstairs and hit the master switch, and what I'm looking for is a flap open indication. Little door that opens up on the on the right rear side of the fuselage. There's flap open. We can go to APU start, APU bleed. We'll also turn on the crew oxygen supply. We will get all the fuel pumps pumping. And, you know, one thing I didn't do is an annunciator light test. Let's do an annunciator light test while we're here. We'll check every bulb in the house, every light bulb, every filament. Make sure no bulbs are not on. That looks good. We'll also do another test my oxygen supply underneath this door. The first officer would check hers, would look at the airworthiness certificate, the airframe and engine logbooks. I'll check the minimum equipment list, see if there's any broken or missing items that will ground our flight. We have available APU. We have bleed air pressure, so we can switch on to APU and go off of shore power. And let's complete that before start checklist.
Below the line.
Windows and doors.
Closed.
Are you sure about that? Beacon.
On.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Before start, checklist complete.
There, the cabin door just closed. Let's check in with the ground personnel.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
Confirm all ground checks complete. We're cleared to pressurize the hydraulics.
Outside check is completed, all doors and panels are closed, no issues found. You can pressurize the hydraulics anytime now.
Great. Let's get the tug hooked up.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We will be ready shortly.
Understood.
He's going to move the tug into position. Let's get a clearance for pushback and engine start. Gatwick ground. Speedbird 4-3, request pushback and engine start.
Speedbird 4-3 pushback and engine start approved.
Pushback and engine start approved. Speedbird 4-3.
We'll turn on the flight directors and the constraints. Get back into arc mode, move the range out to 20. I think the rest of this looks pretty good. And we are ready for pushback. We have our pushback clearance. Let's get a push.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Understood. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Let's move the transponder into the TARA mode, which is the traffic advisory and resolution mode. We'll move
All ground equipment is clear. You can start the engines at your discretion.
Turn the progressive wind shear system on. We'll move the engine to the start position. And let's start engine number 2.
Starting engine 2. Starting engine 1.
And then 1.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our flight today. This is the lead flight attendant speaking. Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety information. There is an instruction card in your seat pocket that illustrates the
attitude
safety
indicator
equipment
to
on this
1014
aircraft.
pressure.
Regulations require compliance with this information as well as all crew instructions, lighted information signs, and posted placards. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the metal tip into the buckle. Tighten by pulling on the belt. To release your seatbelt, lift the metal flap on the buckle. It is our policy that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated. Doors are clearly marked with exit signs and instructions for door operation. Each door is equipped with an escape slide. Locate the exit nearest you. The nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and oxygen masks will appear. Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and pull a mask toward you to start
The push is complete. Please set the brakes.
Oxygen will be flowing to the mask even though the bag may not inflate.
Parking brake set.
Understood. Okay, ground equipment is removed. The pin is out. Good engine starts from my side. I'll see you on the left hand side.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks, have a good flight, and we'll see you later.
Pull up and remove the cushion. Upon exiting the aircraft, place your arms around the cushion and hold on to the straps located on the back.
Let's have
this
a taxi
is a
brief.
non-smoking
We
flight.
are
Smoking is not
taking off
permitted
from
in the cabin or
26
lavatories.
left.
Cabin lights will now be turned off. Reading light buttons are located above your seat. Thank you for your attention.
26 left is this runway, and we are here. So we're going to probably taxi to Lima, then Quebec, down to Quebec, then all the way down Juliet, to Alpha or Mike, right down here to 26 left. So left turn, and then behind runway 26 right to make it to 26 left. It's a little confusing, but this airport is confusing enough as it is. Let's brief the departure. Our departure is the Lam 6 Mike. So we are taking off from 26 left. Left, straight ahead to DME 2.3, cross at or above 1,500 feet, turn right to intercept DET, the radial, 259 radial off of DET inbound by 31 DME, cross at or above 3,200 feet, cross DME 29, that's 29 at or below 4,000. Boy, that's quite complex. But basically, runway heading 257, right turn to 079, 13.6 DME to Acorn, 15.4. This is not to scale, of course. 13.6 is shorter than 15.4, but you can see the distances. Oh, 15.4 from the VOR. And then the DME 10.5 is when you initiate the turn to 337 and then to LAM. So we're on the radial into LAM at DME 10.5 off of the Dietling VOR. Now, if we didn't have a computer to do that for us, you would have, and you just were in a Cessna using VORs, you'd have quite a little monkey job fiddling around with your OBS dial on this procedure. But that's what the procedure looks like, and that'll get us onto our routing, first airway, and onto our on the way to Liverpool. Taxi brief complete, departure brief complete. Let's go to max on the brakes for RTO, rejected takeoff. Let's go to 1 on the flaps for our takeoff, and the only thing left to do on the takeoff configuration is the takeoff configuration verify button, which is right there. Oops. Slat's not in takeoff config. That should be okay. I don't know why we're getting that. There we go.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Let's get a taxi clearance. Oh, actually, let's do a flight control check.
Flight control check.
Ready. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full right. Full left. Neutral.
Rudder.
Full right. Full left. Neutral.
Okay, and usually we would wait for her to do her side as well. But, I won't worry about that. Gatwick ground. Speedbird Fort Tree. Request taxi, runway 26 left.
Speedbird 43 taxi to runway 26 left via taxiways Alpha November, Mike, hold short runway 26 left.
Taxi to runway 26 left via taxiways Alpha November, Mike. Hold short runway 26 left Speedbird 43.
Okay, I will.
Clear left side.
Clear right side.
Let's release the parking brake. Little bit of thrust and we'll test the brakes. The brakes seem okay. Let's boogie on down to the runway.
Before takeoff checklist.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
Config 1 plus F.
Config 1 plus F. V1. VR. V2. Flex temp.
V1 1 3 3 VR 1 3 4 V2 1 3 8 flex temp 5 6 degrees.
V1 1 3 3 VR 1 3 4 V2 1 3 8 flex temp 5 6 degrees. ATC.
Set.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff no blue.
Down to the line.
What a day, huh? What a day. I grew up in Seattle. I'm no stranger to rain. Actually, as far as visually, because of the way the rain affects the concrete, I just took the live weather today. Live weather and live time and live traffic. But I actually kind of prefer the rain. Maybe when we take off, it would be better to have the no rain so you can see the London scenery. Not be on our taxi line. You got to realize that when you're at an airport, airports have the right of way. Airplanes have the right of way. Is the beginning of 26 right, and I believe we are passing behind the threshold for 26 right, so we're getting close to the threshold for 26 left. 26 left. This is where we want to be. Strobes can come on. APU can come off. Terrain radar can come on. And our normal air traffic control program has not identified us here. So I will try to force that. Let's go to the tower frequency. Gatwick Tower, Speedbird 4-3, ready for departure, runway 26 left.
Speedbird 4-3 winds are 240 at 10 knots, cleared for takeoff, runway 26 left.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 26 left, Speedbird 4-3.
Below the line.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
TCAS.
TARA.
Engine mode selector.
Ignition.
PAX.
Packs are on.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Takeoff.
Check.
Stopped raining, just for us. Going to get into position and move the thrust levers into the flex temp takeoff position. That's a D-rated thrust to preserve engine life and to help noise abatement procedure. Okay, to follow noise abatement procedure.
Manflex 5, 6. SRS auto thrust blue.
Checked.
There's V1. There's rotate. Positive rate.
Runway track.
Check.
Gear up.
Boy, we lost the ground right away. We are in IFR. We are in IMC, Instrument Meteorological Conditions. We went into IMC.
AP1.
Check.
We went into IMC conditions immediately.
Heading.
Check.
Open climb.
Check.
Nav.
Check.
Climb.
Check.
Enjoy your afternoon.
Thrust
Radar
climb.
director
Auto
on
thrust.
118.905, Speedbird 4-3. Radar director Speedbird 4-3 climbing to flight level 130.
Speedbird 4-3, good afternoon. Radar contact.
Okay, transition altitude.
Set standard.
Standard cross-check. Passing flight level 036.
Slow to 220 knots or less.
Now.
Wilco
Checked.
Speedbird 43.
Speedbird 43, you have traffic at 9 o'clock 10 miles at flight level 090.
Flap 0. After takeoff, climb checklist.
Landing gear.
Up.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Packs.
Packs are on.
Down to the line.
Clear rad nav.
Okay.
Below the line.
Barrel ref.
Standard set.
Standard set. After takeoff, climb checklist complete.
That felt so strange. That felt so strange going to transition altitude at 3,000 feet. But I did it. I got a little warning, 1014 in my lower display screen. And I said, "Oh, transition altitude."
Speedbird 43, you have traffic at 1 o'clock 10 miles at flight level 115.
Well, I'll tell you.
Speedbird 43, descend and maintain 5,000 feet until passing Alpha Charlie Oscar Romeo November.
1,000 to go.
Check.
Descent and
Speed.
maintain
Check. Vertical speed.
5,000
Check.
feet.
Outstar.
Speedbird
Check.
43.
Vertical speed.
Check.
Thrust idle.
Check.
Open descent.
Check.
Speed.
Check.
Vertical speed.
Check.
Speedbird 43, expedite descent to 5,000 feet until passing Alpha Charlie Oscar
Thrust
Romeo
idle.
November.
Check.
Open descent.
Expedite descent to 5,000
Check.
feet.
Vertical
Speedbird
speed.
Check.
43.
We have our flight level
Speedbird
5,000.
43, you have traffic at 12 o'clock 6 miles at flight level
Yeah, I should have been.
0100.
I made a mistake in not following these constraints. I have my constraint button on, so that's how I know that they're there. And they were in the procedure. We have traffic right ahead of us too. They were in the procedure, but I didn't. Oh, that traffic is really close too. I wonder if I would be able to see it. I can't see him. He's passing off on I don't see that traffic. Yeah. Yeah, that constraint is all the way around. There's another aircraft ahead of us as well.
Speedbird 43, contact London Control on 118.47.
But in my defense, it wasn't all my fault.
Center on 118.47. Take care. Speedbird 43.
Even though I was cleared to 13,000 feet and I should have known the constraints in the procedure and not flown above the constraints, it would have been nicer.
Center Speedbird 43 at flight level 085, climbing to flight level 130.
Speedbird 43, good afternoon. Radar contact.
It would have been nicer had he cleared me to the altitude on the
Speedbird
procedure.
43, you have traffic at 12 o'clock 10 miles at flight level 115.
So after we pass LAM 15, the constraint goes to 6,000 feet. So I'm going to change this to 6,000 feet. And I guess the reason for those constraints is to keep departing traffic below arriving traffic. Which makes a lot of sense. Okay, we're crossing LAM 15 in 5 miles. That has the 5,000 foot restriction. And we're also at 6,200 feet, leveling out at 6,000, which is the new restriction between LAM 15 and LAM 10.
Outstar.
Check.
Just made the cabin call outstar. Outstar refers to this upper edge of the left display.
Check.
Which means we're approaching our level off altitude.
Speedbird 43, you have traffic at 2 o'clock 10 miles at flight level 110.
I'm not seeing any traffic in this soup, buddy. It's your job. When the weather's like this, it's up to the controller to keep the traffic separate. Of course, a pilot never...
Speedbird 43, resume climb to flight level 130.
Resume climb.
Resume climb to flight level 130, Speedbird 43.
Okay. Get up to 130.
Thrust climb.
Check.
Open climb.
Check.
And then we get to
Speedbird 43, you have traffic at 2 o'clock 8 miles at flight level 090.
we can get to an altitude where we can break that 250 knot speed limit and focus on getting to our destination. So the procedure has us still at flight level 6,000, but air traffic control instructions override procedure. So once the controller knew that there was no conflicting traffic approaching the airport, he knows that we want to climb, and he gave us the clearance. But it's written into the procedure because you may not always have that situation where you don't have arriving traffic. How are you doing there?
Speedbird 43, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Climb and maintain flight level 200, Speedbird 43.
She's just as intense as before. turn off the terrain radar as we are at an altitude where it's no longer effective. Also above 10,000 feet, we can clean up our lights. Turn off the Christmas tree. Engines, bleed air, pressure system, cabin altitude, electrical system, getting our power now on the engines, of course. Hydraulic system is actuated. Fuel, all the pumps are on. Those are our levels. 8440 is what we're currently at. APU is off. Air conditioning, still at 24 degrees. Doors are all closed. Wheel temperatures are normal. A little warmer on the right side than on the left side, but still within where it needs to be, and flight controls are okay. Thrust levers are in the climb mode. Speed brake is disarmed. Auto brakes are
Speedbird
disarmed.
43 climb and maintain flight level 240.
Climb and maintain flight level 240 Speedbird 43.
And that should be our last climb instruction. Ground speed 363, airspeed 369. You can see we have a quartering headwind from the left coming from 239 at 17 knots. Really 17 knots is not really bad for this altitude. The higher we go, there's less ground resistance, and you can expect the wind values to increase. Sometimes increase very dramatically. If there's layers of air called a boundary layer, you can have what's called wind shear, where wind will suddenly change airspeed quite dramatically and also suddenly change wind direction between one air mass and another air mass, separated by what's called a boundary layer. TNT is the start of the arrival procedure. Let's take a look at that. Let's brief the arrival. Our arrival is the TPO2G, and that's not really what I wanted to do. TNT transition. Okay, that's what I wanted to do, chart overlay. So here we are, the pink airplane. Here's the transition onto TNT, and let's brief the arrival. We're coming into runway 9, 2G at TNT VOR, the 280 radial, Nanty, Keegan, turn right, intercept the WAL radial, the 184 radial off of WAL, inbound to WAL VOR, left on the 276 to Barros, right to intercept the 297 radial of WAL, inbound to Typod. So no matter all these procedures, always inbound to Typod. Typod is the key. TNG, Keegan, there's the WL VOR, outbound on 276 for
Speedbird 43 expect a
11.2.
Tipo 2 Golf arrival with a TNT transition for the ILS approach to runway 09 at Liverpool. After Elvos cleared direct trend.
Expect the Tipo 2 Golf arrival with the TNT
1,000 to
transition
go.
for the
Check.
ILS approach to runway 09 after Elvos cleared direct trend Speedbird 43.
So 117 inbound to Typod, and then our runway heading is 090. So I imagine we'll catch the ILS or be vectored before we get to that 090 turn. So that is the approach briefing, and I'm sorry, that's the procedure briefing. Let's brief the approach.
Out, start.
Check.
Speed.
Check.
Out.
Check.
So here's the approach. Runway 9. Again, vectored to somewhere. 086 on the inbound. Three-degree glide slope. Decision height is 200 feet AGL, which is 260 feet MSL. So no surprises. We've briefed the procedure and the approach.
You have control.
I have control.
We are at top of climb. I see a little lightning in the sky, but nonetheless, I'm going to turn off the seatbelt sign. Give these folks some valuable moments without the seatbelt on. I know I saw some flashes of lightning. Top of descent will occur just before TNT, Tango November Tango, which is the VOR that starts our procedure.
Speedbird 43 contact Manchester Centre on 118.77. Have a good afternoon.
Center on 118.77 Speedbird 43. Center Speedbird 43 at flight level 240.
Speedbird 43, good afternoon. Radar contact.
Let's see if we can get the ATIS for I don't know if we can get the ATIS for Liverpool quite yet.
Liverpool information Tango, 1420 Zulu. Winds are light and variable. Visibility 6 miles. 1,800 few clouds. 2,200 broken. Temperature 19, dew point 15. Current QNH is 1011. Arriving and departing runway 09er. Liverpool information Tango, 14.
Okay, temperature 19, winds are light and variable, 1011 on the QNH. Let's do our...
Center Speedbird 43 at flight level 240.
Speedbird 43 radar contact.
Temperature 19, QNH 3011. Winds are light and variable, so I'm just going to say 090 at 2. Transition altitude is 3,000 feet. And decision height is 200 AGL on the radio altimeter. Okay, that's good. You set up. Let's talk to the folks. Let's get them seated and get them buckled up.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, this is the captain speaking. We're going to begin our initial descent here momentarily. At this time, I'm going to turn the seatbelt sign back on, so please return your seats and keep your seatbelts securely fastened until the aircraft has come to a stop at the gate and the seatbelt sign has been turned off. It's been our pleasure having you on board for today's flight, and we hope to see you back on a future flight again real soon. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
Descent via the Tipo 2G arrival with the TNT transition to 2,500 feet. QNH is 1011 Speedbird 43.
We've been given clearance down to 2,500.
Thrust idle.
Check.
Open descent.
Check.
We're at TNT. So we're on the procedure. I'm going to initialize the landing system. Let's arm the speed brakes. Let's set our auto brakes to medium. Let's see if I can get the second autopilot.
Manual flight.
Check.
AP1.
Check.
Not quite yet. We'll get that second autopilot when we can. Ideally, we want to be below 10,000 feet at Nanty. I don't know if we're going to quite make it.
Pitch. Pitch. Cabin crew, prepare for arrival.
I'm going to be just a little bit more aggressive on my okay, we're already at 3,200 feet per minute. That's kind of where I was aiming at. It was at 1,400 feet per minute. I think the computer knew that constraint and was trying to get us to that constraint altitude.
Speedbird 43 contact Liverpool approach on liner decimal 85. Have a good journey.
Approach on 119.85 Speedbird 43. Approach Speedbird 43 descending to 2,500 feet.
Speedbird 43, good afternoon. Radar contact. Continue descent via the Tipo 2 Golf arrival. For the ILS approach to runway 09 at Liverpool.
Continue descent via the Tipo 2 Golf arrival. For the ILS approach to runway 09 Speedbird 43.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if air traffic control started to give us some vectors. We just picked up the ILS. You can see it identified here in the lower left corner of our main display. Going to reduce our speed to 230 knots. temporarily shallowing our descent so we can meet that speed restriction. And then once we're at 230 knots, we'll continue our descent. We're at 10,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and go into Christmas tree mode. Get the landing lights on. Stereo cockpit.
I have control.
You have control.
Approach checklist.
Briefing.
Confirmed.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Seatbelts.
On.
Barrel ref.
1013. Set.
1013. Set. Minimum.
200. Set.
200. Set. Engine mode selector.
Ignition.
Approach checklist complete.
Starting to pick up some rain. I don't want to use the wipers at this high speed. Matter of fact, I'm generally not in favor of using the wipers ever. I myself, in my time behind the flight simulator, have not had occasion where you can't make out the runway environment just because of the water on the windscreen. Usually when you can't make out the environment, it's because of fog, not rain. Besides, look at that effect. That rain effect is, you got to admit, that's just cool. That's cool, man. Somehow we lost our course line, and I'm not really sure how. But we're pointed in a good direction, so I'm not going to worry about it.
1,000 to go.
Check.
When we reach our next waypoint, Delta...
Radar altimeter alive.
Check.
When we reach our next waypoint, Delta
Outstar.
298
Check.
Speed.
Check.
Hotel, I want to drop to 200 knots in the first notch of flaps. Unless we're radar vectored before then, and then I'll do it before then.
Out.
Check.
I'm mildly surprised we're not getting radar vectors at this time. Let's sting the cabin.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
And on our EFIS screen, we're waiting for landing gear down and flaps full. If we're not vectored, actually, I don't want to make this sharp turn without at least flaps 1, maybe even flaps 2. So I'm going to call flaps 1 right about in this area of the turn. And bring the speed down to 200 a little bit before then. Speed down to 200. We're below 3,000 feet. We'll go on to local pressure.
1014 set.
1014 set. Passing 2,500 now.
Checked.
Let's go to flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
I want 170 on the speed. Flaps 2?
Flaps 2.
I'm going to wait until we make this turn at Delta 298 Hotel before I go gear down. Gear down is going to give us a lot of drag all at once. I don't want to be close to stall speed when that happens. Let's go to 155 on the speed. When we go gears, we're at 50% power now. When we go geared down, I can expect the auto throttle to give us a little boost of engine thrust. That's perfectly normal.
Speedbird 43NX is 1011 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 09 at Liverpool.
QNH is 1011 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 09 Speedbird 43.
1011 on the Q. I totally blew that QNH. 1011. Ha ha ha. Okay. 129 is our final speed. Here's the turn. Let's go gear down.
Gear down.
$2,500 constraint all the way through here. So we're looking pretty good on our constraint. I want flaps 3 just before, is that USR? Uniform Sierra Romeo? Three green on the gear, by the way. Always important to check the gear.
Speedbird 43NH is 1011 at Liverpool, contact tower on 126.35. Have a good afternoon.
QNH is 1011 tower on 126.35 Speedbird 43. Tower Speedbird 43 inbound for ILS approach runway 09.
Speedbird 43 good afternoon. Radar contact. Continue ILS to runway 09 call when established on final.
Continue ILS to runway 09 will call when established on final Speedbird 43.
Flaps 3.
Flaps 3.
Down to 140 on the speed.
$2,500.
Full flaps.
2,500.
Flaps full.
Check speed.
Flaps full.
Check speed.
You don't really like that full flaps, do you? Okay, what's our landing speed? 128. Okay, go to 130 on the speed. Let's turn on the localizer. We're about to capture the localizer.
Flaps full.
Check speed.
Oh, don't bust my chops. Localizer capture. Let's turn on the approach.
Loc.
Check.
Let's turn on the second autopilot.
Flaps full.
Check speed.
Landing checklist.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
Auto thrust.
Speed.
Auto brake.
Medium.
ECAM memo.
Landing. No blue.
Landing checklist complete.
Speed down to landing speed 128. You need some sharp eyes for that runway.
$2,500.
Radar altimeter is alive.
Glide slope star.
Check.
Turn on the terrain radar. Glide slope capture.
Glide slope.
Check.
can see the terrain radar is starting to light up as we descend, going from green to yellow and then eventually red. 5 miles from the runway. Gatwick Tower, Speedbird 4-3 on final.
Speedbird 4-3 ins are light and variable cleared to land runway 09.
Cleared to land runway 09 Speedbird 4-3.
You know, whether we get a breakout of the clouds before we land or whether we don't, I like this approach. We've got the automation all working for us.
$1,000.
Check.
The radar altimeter and the altimeter do not match, but since we're runway environment insight, since we're on the glide slope, the ILS, it doesn't matter so much. What is that aircraft doing right ahead of us? Get that crazy airplane out of there.
500.
Oh, my goodness. What is he doing? In real life, I would have to misapproach, but I'm not going
Land.
to today.
Check.
Auto land. Pretty. I'm going to take a picture.
Check.
Minimum.
Continue.
Check.
Flare.
Check.
Thrust idle.
Check.
Roll out.
Check. Spoilers, reverse free, decel. 70 knots.
Pretty. Oh, didn't mean to stop on the runway. Sorry about that.
Thrust idle.
Check.
Turn the auto brake off. Get off this runway. Gotta find a way off this runway.
Thrust idle.
Check.
Manual flight.
Check.
Did not mean to stay on the runway this long. Gatwick Tower, Speedbird 4-3, clear of the active.
Clear of active Speedbird 4-3.
Speedbird 4-3 can take ground on 121.95. Enjoy your afternoon.
Ground on 121.95 Speedbird 4-3.
Lights off. APU on. Ah, come on, baby. Don't do this to me. Liverpool ground, Speedbird 43, taxi to parking. Liverpool ground, Speedbird 43, taxi to parking. Liverpool ground, Speedbird 43, taxi to the gate. Not getting much response. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Oh, look at these beautiful aircraft. Since there's no jet bridge, it doesn't matter a whole lot. There's no jet bridge, it doesn't matter. Okay, APU is on. We can cut engines and get that jet bridge, or get the stairs out. Get the stairs out pretty quick here. I don't know if I have stairs here. There are stairs right there. Tight little maneuver for those stairs. Is he going to be able to do it? Well, sure he is. Just drive through the scenery, that's how.
After landing checklist.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Spoilers.
Disarmed.
APU.
Start.
Radar.
Off.
Predictive wind shear system.
Off.
After landing checklist complete.
Taxi light off. Parking checklist.
APU bleed.
On.
Engines.
Off.
Seatbelts.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Off.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking brake and chocks.
On.
Parking checklist complete.
Securing the aircraft checklist.
Adheres.
Off.
Oxygen.
Off.
APU bleed.
Off.
Emergency exit light.
Off.
Signs.
Off.
APU and battery.
Off.
Securing the aircraft checklist complete.
First Officer Christie and I thank you for flying with us today. Welcome to Liverpool, England, and I hope you enjoy and join us on our next flight. Goodbye.